So last night, Sami Zayn failed to become champion at Elimination Chamber in his hometown of Montreal, and maybe it's just getting caught up in the moment and all that. Which some that I do follow here on YouTube have alluded to that maybe that's basically what it is. But it seemed that a lot of people were not happy at the opportunity that WWE missed, and that opportunity was to make some magic. And I'm not going to deny that it was an opportunity that they missed. I mean, I've gone on record in saying that they could have gone the Lex Luger route. They could have gone the Mankind McFoley route. Where they would have, Roman lose the championship, but it would only be for like a couple of weeks or at least a couple of days or whatever, and then he'd regain it. Heck, I even added in the fact that you could have Roman go through that, and then after regaining it, use whatever pull he has as the tribal chief, head of the table, to expunge Sammy's victory at Elimination Chamber from the record books and pretend like, hey, it never happened, despite the fact that we saw it happen. You could have Roman act like, yeah, you may have saw it happen, but where in the record books does it say it occurred? Where does it say Sammy beat me? It doesn't. And then you could just have him go on, with his 900 plus reign as if nothing affected it. That was one thing they could have done, but they didn't. And so I agree, they did kind of miss an opportunity out on making that kind of magical moment. But, in the end, I think things are going to work out. You're going to have Cody Rhodes come out and, talk about that. When he asks the crowd what they want to talk about and everything, he's going to confront that. He's going to basically say, look, we all know Sammy should have won. We all know that Roman, once again, showed how much of a coward he really is because he has to always rely on his family. Now, you might say, well, it's, that the build to Rhodes and Reigns is not going to have the same kind of build and everything that, Sammy had, with him because of that history, if you will. And that's true. That's true. It may not have that same, effect, but I think it's going to do, just as good. I think it's going to have, an identical but not similar effect because they already planted the seeds for Rhodes and Reigns a couple of weeks ago with Paul Heyman coming in out there and confronting Cody. So by them already planting the seeds and everything, you're already setting up things to get a little bit more interesting and intriguing and personal between both parties. I mean, you could have Roman come out and confirm what Paul said about Reigns is the son that Dusty always wanted, but then if you want to get real, you want to get shoot style, if you will, to really build up that tension, which I have no doubt that they may do because, how big this matchup could be. You could have Roman bring up the fact that if Cody and all these people think, Cody's that, it's good. Well, basically, let me rewind for a second. Okay. Basically, you could have Roman, if you want to go like a shoot style like way to help build up the momentous, magnitude of this matchup. You could have Roman basically, bring up the fact that if Cody and these people think, Cody's as good as he says he is, then why did he have to leave WWE? Why did he ask for his release? Why did he go off into the Indies and go to Japan and create this all-elite company and everything, while he was gone? Why did he do all that if he thought he was that good? Why didn't he just stay in WWE and prove it? You could build upon something like that to where Roman can call him out for all that and basically say, that the reason he didn't stay in WWE and the reason he went off and did all this wasn't to reinvent himself and all that and prove that he is a main event player, world champion material, but he did all this because he knows he's exactly what everybody's always known him to be. Just another guy. Just another guy that just happens to be the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Somebody that Roman could say he looked up to and is thankful for helping him get into the business, but will acknowledge that, just like Cody, Dusty had to go outside of WWE to become a champion because he knew, despite people being the people being behind him and supporting him, that he was never going to be champion in WWE whatsoever. And you could play with all kinds of variables when it comes to that to build up to the match, to get that intrigue, to get that support behind the fans more so than ever. Heck, you can have Sammy come out on Raw or even SmackDown and do an endorsement of Cody saying, hey, I didn't get the job done. My story didn't end the way I wanted to with Roman, but yours can. Yours can end the way it should. You could do what no one else has done and take this guy down and take away what he values the most. And, and again, going in that direction as well, along with what I just mentioned, I think in the end Cody's going to be all right. I think he's going to be fine. I think this rivalry, this feud, it's going to have the legs needed. I mean, they wouldn't have had the seeds planted, with Paul Heyman showing up on Raw, a couple weeks ago to confront Cody, if they didn't already have something in mind, directional wise, storyline wise, to go in with Cody as we head into WrestleMania. So I definitely think they have things planned. Again, I would not be surprised if they go a shoot style angle with this, to where, like I say, Roman confronts him at the fact that if he thinks he's that good, why did he leave WWE and go off to the Indies, Japan, create this all-elite company in AEW and stuff like that, if he thought he was that good? Why didn't he stick it out? You could have Roman confront him about that and then answer it by saying, because Cody knows, just like everybody knows, just like his father knew, Cody's not that good. That Cody's just another guy. And that, to Roman, he's just going to be another victim. So you could play, like I said, you got various variables you could play with in those kind of areas, in those kind of directions, especially if you have Sami Zayn come out and endorse him for WrestleMania to do what he couldn't do. And again, I think at the end of the day, nothing will be affected. I mean, you'll still get Sami to have his WrestleMania moment with Kevin when they face the Usos. There's no doubt about that. And, I think, the feelings people have right now, about the fact that Sami didn't win in Montreal, yeah, they're understandable. Yeah, like I said, you could have gone the routes that I mentioned. But I think the reason they didn't do that wasn't because they don't have confidence in Sami at least being maybe a 72-hour, week-long champion, if you will, until the moment he loses it back to Roman. I don't think it's not the fact that they don't have confidence in Sami to pull that off. I think it's more along the lines that they don't want fans to get too attached to something like Sami with the hot momentum he has right now, to the point that if they would have done that, fans would basically be revolting against them if they started hearing rumors and stuff that, hey, they might put it back on Reigns, 72 hours later or a week later, just so they can keep, the direction towards him and Rhodes, on course for WrestleMania. So I think, despite how we might feel about it, they made the right decision. And it wasn't because they don't believe in Sami Zayn. I think it's because they don't want fans to get too attached to Sami as champion with the momentum he has right now, because of the fact that if they did, I should say, fans would basically revolt against them because of the fact that they would just be putting the title back on Reigns and then going with Cody, at Mania after that. So I think they just didn't want to chance that, because Triple H, just, the difference between him and Vince McMahon is Triple H and his crew, or at least those he can trust and knows he can work well with, they definitely are in the know. They are in the know, and they basically have the legitimate, realistic impression that if they would have done something like that, even if they took the title off Sami, on Raw or SmackDown, 72 hours later or a week later, that, again, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself here, that fans would revolt against them. They would be, asking for their heads, essentially, because of the fact that they demolished, a dream and everything, and they just used Sami to be a transitional champion, and that's it. And nowadays, they don't want that. Nowadays, if you're going to put a championship on the likes of a Sami Zayn, then they're going to want Sami to remain champion for as long as they want him to be. They're going to be the ones that say, let him face Cody at Mania and not Reigns. So yeah, look, again, I understand, completely where everybody's coming from. And again, I wish they would have done it. I really do. Even if it was for 72 hours or a week, I wish they would have done it. Because at least there would have been something. And then again, you could add the fact that after he regained the title from Sami, he could use his pull to expunge the victory from the record books and act like it never happened. But, we'll have to see what WWE does. Again, I don't think Cody's going to get infected by this. I don't think he'll be infected by this, whatsoever. I think, if anything, it's going to help build momentum to be more on his side with the fans than anything. Because he will obviously call out Reigns for what happened in Elimination Chamber. And then you could just go from there, where Reigns again can show up, follow through on what Paul Heyman said a couple weeks ago, and then add to it with what I mentioned in a shoot-style manner by bringing up the fact that Cody left when he did, asking for his release, doing all the things that he did, and then wondering, well, if you thought you were that good and everything, then why did you have to go out and do all these things to prove it when you could have just done it here? And then, again, you could have Reigns bring up the fact it's because Cody knows in his heart, just like his dad knew, that Cody's not as good as he says he is, and he's just another guy. And that's it. That's it. But, again, we'll see what they do. I don't think anything's going to get lost and all that. I don't think anything will get lost. I think what's going to happen is I think Cody's going to be fine. It's going to be fine coming out of this. And it's going to make fans, because Cody endorsed Sami Zayn. Let's not forget that. He endorsed Sami Zayn. It's going to make fans want to see Cody take the belt off Reigns more so, especially if they go the direction and the route that I think a lot of us know they're going to go in to build up to the match at WrestleMania. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts overall? Do you think Cody will be affected by this, or not? And do you think they did miss a moment, a magical moment, at least for 72 hours or a week, afterwards, by not putting the title on Sami? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. I would say super chats are on, but they're not, because I can't monetize right now. But like I said, live chats are open. Comment down below. You will get an audio podcast version of this later at BW Rhodes Discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check out the Teespring store, guys. Also support me at DeviantArt.com, says BVW1979. VENMO for content you can't, at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else. Also support me at VENMO at Brian-Romer-2 and at Cash App at BW Roses98 and at Patreon.com, says BW Roses for the $1 or $3 tier. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are overall on this entire situation. Do you think, Cody will be affected by this? Or do you think it's going to help build his momentum even more so? Because, again, he did endorse Sami. And do you think maybe they're going to capitalize on the Paul Heyman situation from a couple weeks ago, with Reigns not only confirming it, but taking it a step further in the direction that I think, along with the rest of us, think and believe they will probably go in to help, build to this matchup? Let me know down below and in the live chat during the premiere, and I will talk to y'all later.